Call this beat Will Smith, cause it slaps hard.
This is a dating scenario that a guy's going through where he can't see the various mistakes that he made. And this is what happens when you're out there in the world trying to figure out stuff by yourself and you're not asking people for help, which is why I highly recommend coaching, whether it's my coaching or somebody else's coaching or eBooks or whatever. Like, you trying to fix your own dating problem without anybody else's insight is going to leave you 10 steps behind, and you're not going to figure this stuff out, because a lot of those mistakes that you're making, you're going to find as you study more are mistakes that you would have never considered mistakes had you not done the research. All right. So let's use this guy as an example. So he says, I just don't get what I'm doing wrong with these girls. I see an attractive girl while I'm out and about doing things. She's around my age and told me she's going to her second year in college. I bring her out to lunch, paid for her meal, and we talked about our backgrounds and what we occasionally drink. I told her how I felt about the way she looks. I told her she was a 10 out of 10, super attractive, and I loved the nose ring she had. She said thanks and took the compliment, but never complimented me on anything. I told her I wasn't prepared for the lunch meal and would love to take her out properly. I was wearing Vans, some beat up jeans, and a jacket, so I understood that there was nothing special about me that day. But when I got her Snapchat and texted her to set plans or come with me to a buddy's concert, she brought up that she had to go out of town and that her schedule was flooded. When I first asked when she was free and to let me know when she is, she dodged the question. During the whole lunch date, I did feel like I had a chance with her, but now I'm seeing maybe she was out of my league or something. She wasn't very responsive during the date, but she would laugh at my jokes and all that. All the time, I see girls that I wouldn't necessarily go for because maybe they just don't have the body shape that I'm looking for in a woman. But I can see them staring at me while I'm in the gym or on the bus and other public places. So I have absolutely no idea if the girls that I want have way too much abundance due to social media or dating apps, or if girls just see me as a mid-level cute kind of guy. So the really hot girls aren't engaging with me. Can somebody help? So just listening to that, you may have no idea what this guy's doing wrong. You may be like, okay, so he met a girl and then they went out for lunch and then he tried to ask her out later and she said no, or she didn't respond back. And she said her schedule's flooded and I don't know what's going on. Where's the wrongness here, right? And if it had been me years ago, I'd have been in the same boat, like, what's going on? So let's go back through, because I wrote on this guy's page and I let him know exactly what it is that he's doing wrong. So I think I listed like 8 things here, right? So in me being an analyst of this stuff, here is examples of the stuff he did wrong, right? So for the first thing, he said, I brought her out to lunch and paid for the meal, right? So I said lunch dates. Lunch dates, they tend to lack romantic energy and can quickly make women feel as though you're more like a friend than a potential boyfriend. Because you got to look at, like, this goes back to like marketing to women. What are they looking for? They want the vibe to be romantic, right? So daylight lunch is not nearly as romantic as candlelit dinner. Fun fact, in a dim room, our pupils tend to dilate a little bit bigger. And it's the same way like with the baby's eye. That's why people want to take care of babies, because their eyes are dilated and they look all cute. So when you're doing a dinner in a place that has like dark lighting with a little candlelight or whatever like that, your eyes are actually opening up a little bit bigger, and that makes you look more attractive to women. So if you need any other reason to go on a dinner date instead versus a lunch date, that is one, is that lunch dates ultimately do not prove to be a very romantic setting. So you're already setting yourself up for failure by setting up a lunch date. Next thing I said is that he talked about her looks. He said to her, quote, I told her she was a 10 out of 10, super attractive, and women do not get turned on by you giving them a compliment, especially about their body, when A, they didn't earn that compliment because they were just born that way. And also when it's a compliment that so many other guys have told her. Like, I can assure you, this guy saying, you're so hot, you're a 10 out of 10, you're so attractive, is the same thing that she's probably heard from all the other guys in her entire life. But you know what I found to be effective is if you say something complimentary on her that is not related to anything that she's born with. So like, oh, hey, I got some really stylish shoes on there. Where'd you get them from? Like, giving a compliment and then asking about where they got it from. Now they've taken the compliment because it's, oh my God, he noticed something that I had to actually do in order to get this attractive thing. Like I wasn't born with these shoes on. I had to go pick these shoes out specifically in order to get them. Oh my gosh. And then he's asking for a story about them. So now I get to talk about the journey of me getting these shoes. And so I get to share a story with him, and me sharing stories is how I connect with men. So yeah, you complimenting her looks, it doesn't make you stand out. Most hot women hear that all the time. So you guys, I don't care if you're going to these places where you're meeting these 10 out of 10 knockouts that are the finest thing you've ever seen. The biggest mistake you can make is to actually compliment her on it. Because again, she's hearing that from other guys. Instead, make it work for the compliment. You can say, oh, that's a nice shirt. Oh, that's nice shoes, blah, 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 blah. Do not compliment her body at all. At some point in the dating line, when you're on a date, you can say, yeah, those curves like a dangerous road. But for those first few times, leave that to the wayside, all right? Those compliments do not help you at all. Another thing, I said negative rambling. So he said, keep in mind, he's paying for the meal. So he got her on the date. He's paying for the meal. She is not brought up at any time. Oh, you just took me out to lunch, blah, 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 blah. And yet, what is he going to do? He's going to complain and tell her, oh, by the way, I wasn't prepared to take you out to lunch today because I was thinking I went to do something else, but I had to make you settle for a lunch, my princess. No, even if you made the mistake of going on a lunch date, you do not apologize for the kind of date that you took her on, that you paid for, that you also were spending energy on. She should just be happy overall that a guy came along and felt good enough about her to want to take her out. And most women are there for the journey and for the enjoyment of company. But if you start pointing out the things you could have done better or that you feel like you did wrong, now she has to view it like that. Well, when I was in school, I was a theater major, and one of the things that they taught us in theater is not to do. Oh, I just had the word in my head. Is to oh God, it's gonna come back to me. I'll get back to that. But anyway, the point is, you don't preemptively tell somebody that. Oh, disclaimers. They said in theater class, you don't give people disclaimers before you talk to them. So this would look like this. Me going to a woman and saying, hey, so before I talk to you, I know that I'm probably not normally your type because I'm like, 5'6", and you probably only date taller guys. So if this communication is bugging you at all, then you can stop talking to me. But anyway, I'm going to talk to you now. Like, you giving disclaimers means that person now has to look out for that disclaimer. So you saying, hey, by the way, I know this is just a meager lunch date and I could have done better. Now you basically told her how to feel about this. And you doing that and putting out that negativity, it's not going to make her be like, oh, that's okay that you didn't think this date wasn't good enough. You can do a better date next time. What they're going to think is, oh, this guy thinks he's a lame, and now I think that too. So let's stop being negative about ourselves, guys. Stop pointing out negative things in general on dates. So continuing on, I also pointed out that he said that he didn't think he was special due to his clothing. So he said, I was wearing Vans, some beat up jeans, and a jacket, so I understood that there was nothing special about me that day. Well, I'll say I've definitely said on this show before that you need to really work on what your style is going to be. I just did a whole show talking about how you can better brand yourself. But again, even if you made the mistake of not doing that, you do not apologize. I don't understand this thing about guys trying to apologize for themselves on dates. Like, I know we think that women want to hear, I'm so sorry, but that's more like if you actually did something wrong. You taking her on a lunch date and not dressing your best is inherently not anything wrong you did. Should you have showed up that way? No. But that does not mean that you also apologize for it when you're in front of her. Whatever you decided to wear that day, she still said yes to the date. And again, if she's not saying anything verbally about it, even if she's in her head like, oh, it's interesting you chose that, you don't need to preemptively come out and say, oh, well, I know I could have dressed better, blah, 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 blah. Like, you need to be all about projecting confidence. Yeah, I showed up in a wrinkled shirt and in some short. I just finished playing basketball and I wanted to see you, so what's up? Like, that exudes masculine confidence versus, oh, I didn't wear the right thing. That displays feminine anxiousness. We do not need you doing that. Continuing, I said, so then the other mistake he made was like, as a date. Keep in mind, he got a Snapchat, and the next thing that he says is, hey, come with me to a buddy's concert. Now, what have I told you guys on the show time and time again? 2 to 3 months to solidify feelings. During the time that you're dating a girl, before she becomes your girlfriend, it should just be you and her. You do not go about trying to introduce her to friends or family members, all right? So the fact that this guy, his first offer to her was, hey, come with me to a buddy's concert. Now she's thinking, great, now I got to be on for him, and I got to be on for his friend, and I got to make a good impression in front of his friend, but I'm just trying to get to know him. That's a lot of pressure. The more pressure you're trying to add to a woman during the course of dating you, the less likely she's going to want to date you. And you trying to introduce her to friends and family early on is a thing that adds pressure. I know why you want to do it. You're thinking, well, I want to show her that I feel comfortable with her in my world. And so that means introducing her to my people. It does not mean that at all. Stop believing that. What it means is that you're trying to get kudos from your friends about this girl when this isn't the time to do that. So let's remove trying to ask her to come meet you along with your family and friends, all right? She can see how you are with other people when you're on dates talking to servers. She doesn't need to see that right now in the dating phase when it's just you and her, all right? Another thing he said is asking for a Snapchat and social media, because my thing is this: you're a grown-ass man, all right? Snapchat, Instagram, asking for alternative ways other than the phone to try to contact her. Honestly, in my opinion, this could just be my opinion thing, but it seems like it projects an era of a lack of confidence. Like it's almost just saying, I'm not bold enough to straight up ask her for a number, so I'm going to try to get in the side door by asking for her social media and contacting her that way. And then I'll build up the courage to eventually get her number. Always go for the number. That is the most effective way and the most masculine energy leaning way to be able to project a woman that you want to see her and that you're bold enough to do it. All right. All these trying to get her various social medias, it boils down to you're trying to get her contact info to ask her on an authentic date. All right. And she's going to be better receiving of that when you're asking her by way of directly messaging her. And I'm still the man that's like, hey, do it through a phone call. But I get it. We're in a texting age. Fine. Text her directly on the phone. Hey, great meeting you the other day. I want to take you out to such and such. You trying to go through all the social media. Where here's the other thing too. With social media, she might get the indication that part of that is you want to be able to look at her and see her pictures and stuff when she's not around. And subconsciously, guys, that's very creepy. Like, I know you're thinking, well, I want to be able to add her to my social media, which you shouldn't be doing in the first 3 months anyway, but I want to add her to my social media and I want to be able to see what her life's about, her stories and this and that. But subconsciously, that's basically saying, I want to peek in her window and look at her. And I don't think even women are aware that subconsciously, that's how they're taking it in when a guy's saying, oh, I checked out your social media the other day. Because eventually you're saying, hey, when you weren't aware, I was looking at you. Think about how that feels to women. Do women like guys looking at them that they're unaware of? Not really. So when you're trying to suggest getting her social media, it can convey the same type of feeling. Even if a woman thinks that she's cool with it, it still conveys that feeling. So be a man, ask for a number, call her. If you can't call her though, text her for the date. Don't do all this social media bull crap, all right? Another thing I said also texting. For you guys, I say this all the time, texting kills attraction. Yes, you can get a date by texting, but real men are bold enough to pick up a phone and call. And yes, it is 2023 as of this recording. Women will still pick up their phone for a guy that they find attraction to and want to get a date from, all right? And then last thing I said is him saying, I asked her when she was free and to let me know when she is, and she dodged the question. That is that sets up the idea that her time is way more valuable than yours. And by doing that, you're putting her on a pedestal. Women don't like to be put on pedestals because it puts them in the leadership position in the relationship. And I found in my personal dating journey that women want men to wear the pants and they want men to contact them and ask them for dates. So what you do is this: as a guy, when you're asking a woman out, you say, hey, so I want to take you out. I'm free on this day or this day. Let me know what works for you. Then she's getting a choice, but you've confined it to these are the 2 days that work best for me. Choose one. Now, if neither of those work, they'll either come back to you and say, neither of those days work, but I can work this day instead. That's if she's interested. If she's not interested, she'll say, neither of those days work. And then at that point, she's probably not interested. Now, even with that, you don't say, okay, well, hit me up whenever. You say, okay, great. You know what? That's fine. I'll hit you up some other time. I'll be the one to reach out to you again to ask when you're free at a different time. And then you wait about a week, hit her up again. Hey, just wanted to see if this Tuesday or Thursday would work for you for this outing. Let me know. Now, at that point, if she comes back to you again and says, oh, those days don't work, now you know you got a person on your hands that's not interested. Because if you've asked her out twice and both times she couldn't figure out that either of those times work for her, then it's probably a no-go. But for you to be like, I'll let you know whenever. Let me know whenever you're free. Again, it sets you up as the guy that's going to be waiting by the phone for her to call you up, which women don't like. And also, you're giving her the reins to choose when this date's going to happen. And you want to try to keep as much control of that as possible. So you should be the one saying, hey, let's go out. She says you can't make it. Then you say, hey, you know what? No problem. I'll reach out to you later. I'm out. And then you decide when you're going to reach out. But this whole like, you let me know what date and time you're free, and then I'll be sure to only hit you at that time for a date. It's not exuding masculine energy, guys. So you got to stop that. All right.
You's a bad boy, but you can't stop, won't stop. You a high earning, high value, high class man. You a high earning, high value, high class man. You a high earning, high value, high class man. You a high class man. You a high class man. You a high earning, high value, high class man.